Chosen one. A group turned against you on purpose, forcing you into isolation. One manipulative leader orchestrated it all, believing they were ending your future. But what they never realized is that this moment is actually the beginning of their collapse. Your intuition was right. This wasn't random. It was organized, planned, designed to remove you from the path of what was meant for you. The ringleaders saw your growth, your transformation, your potential, and instead of celebrating it, they felt threatened. You weren't a peer to them. You were competition, someone who could expose their illusions simply by existing in truth. So they crafted a story. They understood human psychology. They knew people crave belonging. They knew fear travels faster than facts. And when they painted you as dangerous, unstable, untrustworthy, their followers absorbed it without question. Repetition became the weapon. The same phrases, the same warnings, the same carefully framed concern. Until enough voices said it that reality itself seemed to bend. But here's where everything changed. They brought their accusations to someone with real authority, someone capable of opening or closing doors, shaping futures, granting access. Oh, they walked in confident, rehearsed, united. They expected confirmation. They expected elimination. What they didn't anticipate was independent thinking. This person had lived transformation themselves. They recognized the difference between someone doing real inner work and someone performing spirituality for power. They understood how trauma heals, how growth looks, how manipulation hides behind emotion. And when they listened closely, the cracks appeared. Stories matched too perfectly. Phrases repeated word for word. Outrage sounded practiced instead of remembered. When simple questions were asked, what exactly happened, when, who was present, answers shifted. Timelines blurred, details contradicted, and suddenly, confidence turned defensive, because rehearsed stories collapse under curiosity. Then, the focus shifted. The accusers were examined. Patterns emerged. This wasn't the first campaign. This wasn't the first exile. This wasn't the first life targeted for daring to rise. Messages were uncovered. Plans documented. Coordination revealed. Proof that what looked like concern was actually strategy. This was never about protecting anyone. It was about eliminating competition, about guarding influence, about fear of being exposed. While they were busy trying to erase you, something else was happening. Isolation was shaping you. Without a crowd, you learned discernment. Without approval, you learned sovereignty. Without support, you learned self-mastery. They tried to break you by removing your community. Instead, they freed you from dependence. You discovered who you are without applause, what you believe without validation, what you're capable of without witnesses. And that made you dangerous in the best possible way. Because now you don't move from insecurity. You don't negotiate your worth. You don't need permission to rise. Behind the scenes, the spiritual scales were already tipping. Every intention sent to block you was redirected. Every attempt to delay you reinforced your alignment. Every effort to bind your future strengthened your protection. You cannot curse what is already called forward, and now the reversal begins. The lies return to their origin. The alliances fracture. The followers scatter. Those who once moved in unity now move in fear, distancing themselves, rewriting history, pretending they never participated. And the leader who built their power on control now faces exposure, because influence built on manipulation cannot survive truth. Meanwhile, the door they tried to close for you is opening wider than you imagined. An opportunity is approaching that alters your trajectory, a connection that redefines your path, a moment that anchors your future. It may not look glamorous at first. It may ask humility before elevation. It may require trust before reward. But your spirit will recognize it, because this isn't luck. This is preparation meeting destiny. This is endurance being honored. This is justice correcting an imbalance. The past they tried to weaponize becomes your evidence. The pain they mocked becomes your authority. The isolation they forced becomes your initiation, and soon, very soon, the same community that tried to erase you will watch you ascend beyond their reach. Quietly, permanently, unstoppable. So breathe. The war is ending. The blessing is arriving. And the life you built in silence is ready to receive you. Welcome to the next level, chosen one. This investigator had lived transformation themselves. They could recognize the difference between real growth and spiritual performance. And when they examined the testimonies, something became obvious. Matching stories weren't proof. They were evidence of coordination, identical wording, rehearsed emotion, vague answers, shifting timelines. When simple questions were asked, the narrative cracked, and then the investigation turned toward the accusers themselves. A pattern emerged. This wasn't the first time they had done this. Others had been targeted before, people who threatened the leader's position or saw through the manipulation. Careers quietly derailed. Reputations subtly damaged. Opportunities mysteriously redirected. Always the same signature. Always the same leader at the center. Messages were found, emails uncovered, side conversations revealed, proof of planning, proof of instruction, proof that concern had been scripted long before any problem existed. This was never about protecting anyone. It was about guarding territory, protecting influence, preserving an illusion of superiority. And while they were busy trying to erase you from the outside, something far more important was happening on the inside. Isolation didn't break you. It rebuilt you. In silence, you learned clarity. In solitude, you learned strength. In absence, you discovered self-trust. When voices disappeared, intuition grew louder. When validation vanished, purpose became clearer. When support fell away, discipline took its place. They thought loneliness would weaken you. Instead, it stripped away every false attachment. You stopped seeking permission, stopped explaining yourself, stopped shrinking to fit rooms that were never built for your expansion. You learned how to stand without witnesses, how to believe without applause, how to keep going when no one was cheering. And in that quiet rebuilding, something rare formed. Integrity, power without ego, confidence without arrogance, vision without desperation. While they rehearsed stories, you rewired your identity. While they coordinated attacks, you refined your purpose. While they plotted your fall, you were unconsciously preparing for elevation. And now, as the investigation exposes their strategy, something else is being revealed. Your endurance, your consistency, your evolution. The same isolation meant to erase you has become the evidence that qualifies you. Because not everyone survives silence. Not everyone grows without praise. Not everyone transforms when abandoned. But you did. And now the very space they tried to bury you in is becoming the ground from which your next level rises. Without a community, you learned self-trust. Without validation, you built self-worth. Without support, you developed unshakable strength. They believed isolation would shrink you, that removing familiar voices would dissolve your confidence and scatter your purpose. Instead, solitude became your training ground. In the quiet where no one applauded, you learned to hear your own truth. In the absence of witnesses, you discovered integrity. In the vacuum where approval once lived, you cultivated a foundation no opinion could shake. They mistook silence for weakness. They confused your patience with defeat. They thought removing your tribe would leave you hollow. But what they truly created was someone immune to manipulation. Someone who no longer bends to expectations, no longer negotiates their worth, no longer waits for permission to rise. You became anchored in self-authority, rooted in inner clarity, guided by a compass no hand can turn. And while this unfolded in the visible world, another battle moved quietly beneath the surface. Some attempted interference in unseen ways to bind your timing, to tangle your focus, to seed doubt, fatigue, stagnation, and delay. They whispered confusion into your mornings. They sent heaviness into your nights. They hoped exhaustion would slow your steps and make you abandon the road already opening before you. But you cannot curse what is already aligned. You cannot block what is already appointed. You cannot dim what carries its own light. Every attempt returned to its sender as wisdom. Every obstacle refined your discernment. Every hidden attack activated another layer of protection. What was meant to fracture you instead fortified you. What was meant to derail you instead redirected you more precisely. The resistance itself became confirmation. And then, the turning point. The moment they planned your erasure, the structure holding their story began to collapse. In the meeting meant to seal your removal, language faltered, timelines contradicted, motives blurred, details unraveled under simple questions. Evidence emerged that no one expected to surface. An investigator noticed patterns that could not be ignored. Messages revealed coordination. Records showed preparation long before accusations were spoken. Some witnesses hesitated. Some admitted uncertainty. Some confessed they had never even crossed paths with you. What began as accusation ended as exposure. The narrative reversed in real time. The hunters became the evidence. The storytellers became the suspects. And in the silence that followed, one truth stood unmoved. You were never the target. You were the mirror, and what they tried to destroy in you revealed what they had been hiding in themselves. And suddenly, the opportunity they believed they were guarding for themselves was never destined to be theirs at all. Now the reversal begins. The tide shifts quietly at first. Then, all at once, words once used as weapons circle back to their origin. Stories built to damage begin to collapse under their own weight. Doors they forced closed now seal behind them, locking them out of rooms they once controlled. Reputations they tried to fracture start unraveling in public view. Whispers turn into questions. Questions turn into investigations. Investigations turn into truth. Followers grow uneasy. Supporters hesitate. Allies who once defended without thinking now step away to protect themselves. Messages leak. Screenshots surface. Timelines expose contradictions. And the leader who built their identity on influence now faces a mirror. Admiration thins into skepticism. Applause fades into silence. Authority becomes accountability. Loyalty dissolves into self-preservation. Power does not disappear loudly. It evaporates slowly, visibly, inevitably. Meanwhile, the blessing they tried to intercept moves closer. It does not arrive with fireworks. It arrives with precision, an opportunity that restructures your finances, a role that elevates your professional standing, a path that alters your entire trajectory. At first, it may look ordinary, like training instead of promotion, like apprenticeship instead of leadership, like a door that asks for humility before it offers authority. But your spirit will recognize it, because this is not coincidence. This is alignment. This is preparation, finally meeting timing. This is endurance receiving its return. This is justice restoring balance without announcing itself. Nothing you survive disqualifies you. Every delay sharpened you. Every rejection refined you. Every season of isolation trained your discernment. You did not endure to be forgotten. You did not struggle to be sidelined. You did not heal to remain unseen. Your past does not disqualify you. It qualifies you. It taught you restraint. It built your discernment. It gave you clarity. It forged your capacity to carry what is now arriving. And when the door opens, not because you forced it, not because you begged, not because you competed, but because the time is correct, you will step through quietly, not needing revenge, not seeking validation, not explaining your survival, just moving forward into the life that was always waiting for the version of you you have finally become. Where you started proves your strength. Not everyone rises from scarcity, rejection, or silence with vision still intact. The ground you came from was heavy, shaped by resistance meant to test your resolve. You did not abandon yourself there. That alone speaks of power. What you survived proves your capacity. You carried grief without collapsing. You endured uncertainty without losing direction. You rebuilt when nothing was promised. Few discover what they can hold because few are asked to carry so much. You were, and you did. How you transformed proves your character. You did not harden when wounded. You did not shrink when overlooked. You chose integrity over bitterness, clarity over chaos, growth over comfort. The investigator sees the consistency others missed. The universe honors alignment with precision, not noise. And the new community entering your life will be different. They will not fear your light. They will celebrate it without envy. Collaborate with your vision without rivalry. Grow with your expansion without restraint. Now watch. Those who tried to erase you will witness your elevation. Those who blocked you will watch their influence fade. The opportunity meant for you will establish you firmly. You do not need revenge. Justice is already correcting paths, so breathe. Relax. Smile. The war is over. The blessing is here. And the life you built through pain, discipline, and faith is finally ready to receive you. Welcome home, chosen one. And so this chapter closes not with defeat, but with elevation. What was meant to silence you refined you. What was meant to remove you repositioned you. What was meant to end you became the doorway to your becoming. You did not survive by accident. You were preserved with purpose. As justice completes its work and alignment takes its place, remember this: your light was never the problem. It was always the proof. So walk forward without fear. Stand without apology. Receive without doubt. Because the war is finished. The blessing has arrived. And the life you were prepared for is finally ready for you. Welcome home. Kindly subscribe to this channel